Hey girl, welcome to this conversation. Unfortunately, my phone just fell, and this piece of my microphone kit, whatever, um, the phone fell right on it and it broke. So it's not working. So I'll have to do this without a microphone. That's the devil for you. Doesn't want this word to get out, but I'm gonna go through with it anyways because somebody needs to hear this based on the topic. And it is the one shift that ended my cravings. And this is for you if you're an emotional eater and you've been working on yourself, working on your past hurt from your father, but you're still finding yourself turning towards food. So I'm just going to tell you right away the one shift that helped me was to stop eating simply to try and lose weight, but to eat for my body and my brain, right? Because I realized that my brain, before I even go there, I've been eating for my emotions for years, over 20 years, more than 20 years. And I just noticed it the last 5 years though, believe it or not, because I was trying to lose weight after my last pregnancy and I realized that I had these really bad cravings and I would try diets like keto, cutting out the carbs, and um, alternate day fasting. I didn't try that one for very long because I just couldn't do it. Like the cravings were really bad. Or intermittent fasting, I would try that and it just wasn't right for my body. My belly would be so bloated from the gas. And so I stopped doing that. And then I just wanted something that worked for me. I kept starting and stopping and starting and stopping and starting and stopping. And like I was just so fed up. And so I recognized that when I was cutting out the foods, like my brain would just send these huge cravings. It's like my brain would go into panic mode. It would start to panic, like I was starving myself. Oh, she's starving. She's starving. She needs to eat. She needs to eat. And so I'd get these huge cravings. And I realized that my brain had already formed a pathway to certain foods for safety and comfort for me because that's what I used those foods for when I was growing up, right? For safety and for comfort. Never felt safe when I was growing up. And I needed to soothe my emotions, right? But I realized that because over the years I was using those foods, right, my brain had formed a pathway to those foods. So me cutting out those foods was me like saying, "Oh, I need help. I need help. I'm gonna starve. I'm gonna starve." Right? And so I had to find a way to eat for my body, and then eat also to calm, and eat also to calm down my brain to curb the cravings, right? And so instead of cutting out, so for example, I'm going to give an example. For example, rice. Instead of me cutting out rice, I replaced it. Like I started to try and replace it with quinoa, but that didn't work. And then I switched to bulgur. And that was the thing. And I realized the texture and the density of bulgur was similar to that of rice. So when I ate that, my brain was like, okay, she's good. She has eaten something that is going to make her feel safe and is going to soothe her emotions. It's going to give her some comfort. So I added bulgur. Good. And then I started to add more fiber in, not fiber, yes, but protein. I realized I was not eating enough protein. And so when I had I probably wouldn't have any breakfast. And that was my biggest mistake. A lot of us are taught that we need to skip breakfast and just eat lunch and then eat. But then by the time the evening comes, you're having these really bad cravings, right? You're having these huge cravings because you are not feeding your body from morning. And so now that I've started having my breakfast, I'm going to try and put a picture of it in here. Oats and flaxseed powder and protein, a protein powder, And then I'd also add a Greek yogurt to it. And that would give me a lot of protein for my breakfast. So that would keep me full for 5 hours. When I tell you I don't have any cravings now for sweets, like I have, they will say to you, don't buy any bad foods and keep it in your house. I have cake in my fridge right now, and I've had it there for, I don't know, maybe 3 days. I don't know. But I've had it there for a while and I've not eaten any, and I have zero cravings, zero desires. I have zero desires to eat the cake in the fridge, and that's not me. That was not me. Because if there's cake in the fridge, trust that I'm going to eat it. I have to eat it after a meal, right? But no, I'm not even really eating dinner. I have zero cravings in the night. And if I do have a craving after I'm finished with my lunch slash dinner, then I just have one of those fruit gummy packets that I normally buy for my kids, and I am good. I don't need anything else. I don't drink juice anymore. Well, I haven't. Let me not say I don't drink it, but I haven't had any juice. I haven't had any like cookies or anything like that. I'm just not. I'm so satisfied because now I know what my brain needs. And so instead of dieting and just trying to eat to lose the weight, you need to eat for your brain and you need to eat for your body. Like rice for me would just, I know I'm not going to lose weight by eating rice because the glycemic index is high and the fiber in it is really low. And then it's, a good amount of calories. But when you look at bulgur, the glycemic index is really low, but the fiber is really high. So eating that and adding in proteins, making sure my plate is balanced, adding in vegetables. And when I tell you my plate is hefty, it's full, right? And my breakfast and my lunch, they're about 500 to 600 calories each. So roughly for the day, I am getting about 1500 calories, but I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry because of how I'm eating, right? So my body needs nutrition, but my brain needs the safety and the comfort, the assurance that I'm safe and I'm comforted. And so when eating like that does both, right? So eventually I'm going to start dropping the weight. And then once I get to my goal weight, then I can adjust how I'm eating, right? I can add in, maybe more coconut milk, things that are fattening, or avocado or whatever, but just adding in more things that will help me to maintain that weight. Right. And honestly, I don't know how I'm going to do it because as it is already, I'm eating and I'm full. Like I'm good. I don't need anything. I don't eat in between meals anymore. I go like 5 to 6 hours on what I'm eating between meals. I just need to work on my water because I'm not drinking as much water as I should, but it works, right? So that has ended my cravings. I don't have any more cravings because I'm not just focused on weight loss. I'm not just trying to drop the weight fast. Nowadays, everything is so quick. Lose weight quick, make money quick. Lose 30 pounds in 30 days, lose 30 pounds in 21 days. People want things fast, but honestly, fast is not sustainable. Because if you're going to do, let's say you're doing keto now, are you going to maintain that for the rest of your life? If you are, then cool, you can do it. But if you're going to be adding in back food, then you're going to put the weight back on, right? So you have to do something that's sustainable and that will work for your body. You need to become an expert on you and not just on the diets out there. You're going to be a yo-yo dieter, or you're going to be doing all these fad diets. You're going to waste a lot of money and you're still going to be trying to lose the weight for years and years and years. I know people who have not known him personally, but I've heard their stories of them. They've been dieting for years, or they've lost 100 pounds and they've put it right back on because they've gone back into just eating how they were eating before. Whereas if you do it this way, you find the foods that work for your body and your brain, and you're not really cutting out, but you're replacing, then you'll find that you will not have any cravings. You won't. And you've dealt with your emotions. And I'm not saying you're going to completely have all your emotions dealt with, but you're not holding them in. You can talk to somebody if there's something wrong. All of those things, you've forgiven your father, you've done some internal work, you might have gone to counseling, then this will work for you. Find those foods that work for your body and your brain, and I'm telling you, develop that awareness. And I think most of you probably will know the foods that set off those cravings and those foods that calm the cravings down. But you'll have to find a balance, like a complete plate that works for you: breakfast and lunch and maybe dinner. And then eventually you'll find you can skip a meal, because like even today, this morning, I had my oats and stuff and I didn't feel hungry. I literally just, it was maybe 9:30 in the morning and I didn't feel hungry. I didn't feel like eating, but I ate anyways, right? So you'll find that eventually you'll be able to fast at certain periods of time. And while I don't really want to fast for weight loss, like I want to leave fasting for getting closer to God as my main purpose and not weight loss. So I know some people do it, but eventually, if you want to just still cut down on how much you're eating, then you will be able to do that, right? Because your brain will not feel like, oh, she's starving herself, or she needs comfort, let me send her some cravings. No, you will be okay. All right. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I am going to be doing more videos on emotional eating and cravings and all of that, because I just know how much I struggled for years and years and years, and how much I just did not feel free. I always thought about the scripture that says, who the Son sets free is free indeed. And I would just always think to myself that I just don't feel free. But now I absolutely do. I feel completely free. I'm just amazed at the change and the difference, going from having cravings 95% of my day to having cravings maybe 5% of my day. It is just non-existent. They are non-existent now based on how I'm eating. So I'm just so thankful. God is so good. I'm just so grateful to be on the other side of it now, because I'm telling you, those of you who are emotional eaters, those of you who have cravings, you know what I'm talking about. You know the struggle and the fight. And I wish for you to have peace around food, and just to be able to just eat healthy and be able to look at the bad foods and just say no and just walk away, and it's nothing. So I wish that for you. Anyways, girl, if you have any questions, drop it in the comments down below, and I would be very happy to answer them for you. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.